guys, welcome back to the Pregnant Christian Environmentalist podcast. I have a really special guest here. Her name is Zoe, and I've been following her on Instagram. Maybe one reason we connected is because we both live in Hawaii, so that's so fun. And I actually thought you were on Oahu, Zoe. I wish you were, but you're on Maui, right?
I am on Maui.
Yes, so we are on the phone, but I'm excited to introduce you. One thing that stuck out about you to me, it was your ancestral eating, which I don't know, it's still not as common. I'm always like, oh, another person that gets it. So yeah, born and raised Maui. You're also a fellow Jesus lover. I saw that in a few of your posts, so that's awesome. I was going to mention I lived on Maui before, so it is a really special place to me. I lived on West Side and I have Hanai family over there, and I go all the time, so we'll have to meet someday and grab a cup of coffee.
Yes.
But I'll just have you introduce yourself and then I'll get into what we're going to talk about in this episode.
Awesome. Hello. Yes, my name is Zoe, and I do also live in Hawaii on Maui. It's funny, some of my posts will say Oahu because I island hop often, so maybe it popped up on your feed because of that. I am a mom. I have a 2-year-old daughter and pregnant with our second. It's funny because my page is all about ancestral eating, and so that's all I see and that's my world. And then when I get around people that's not quite there, I forget that I look like the crazy person because no one else is eating like this. So it's really nice to find like-minded people that we can just chat about all the things.
Yeah, so your account, I must say, creating reels is not easy on Instagram. It can be really easy actually, but it's time consuming. So I want to know why you're doing it. What's your kind of goal in the online world? Because it's one thing to cook things from scratch and try to live non-toxic life, but it's another to record the process and share and educate. So I would know it takes a lot of time. So what's your goal and how can listeners find you?
I just want to share with other people that healthy eating, ancestral eating, it doesn't have to be hard and it doesn't have to be time consuming. I mean, me posting and doing all that honestly is more time consuming than cooking a meal and nourishing my family. But I just want to show people that it's really not that hard. I am no one special. Like, I live on an island in the middle of nowhere. Like, anyone can do this. I say this all the time, like, we're deprived here, but like, I can find everything I need to nourish my family here and locally, which is amazing. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram. The .nourish mom is my mainly like holistic nutrition and ancestral page where I focus mainly on that. And then I did start up another page. It's naturally.nourished life, and I talk a little bit more about just holistic motherhood and Jesus and some low tox living there, just because my ancestral page used to be a personal page, and so I have a lot of random people that I've known since high school and college that aren't quite following me for ancestral eating, so I just wanted to create another page where it's just my people.
Yeah, okay, cool. I have to ask, how was it finding a raw milk connect over on Maui?
Oh my gosh, it was so hard. There was like one farm that I knew of, and then there was another farm that was opening up, and I got on their herd share, I think almost 3 years ago. And I got a text like 2 months ago saying like, we've opened up our herd share, and I'm like, okay, I already found something else. So I am a part of it's goat milk, which is amazing, but goat milk is more expensive than cow just anywhere in the US. And so, yeah, we're spending an arm and a leg, but it is so worth it.
Yeah, I actually mentioned in my last episode, which was about food, how it is hard here. I think a lot of people think maybe island lifestyle, more people are into ancestral eating and more raw foods. No, it's a lot of imported food and it's tricky. And versus my family in California and Utah, they just buy it at the health food store. So yeah, you know the struggle.
Yeah, and it's tricky because we're one of the places where it's illegal to sell in stores. Yeah, so to get around that, you have to be a part of a herd share, and not many farms want to take on herd shares. They rather just keep the milk for their family and not have to, if something were to happen, they just don't want to be on the record and get in trouble for anything. So it's super tricky.
Yeah, you get it. So the theme of this episode is not food. And maybe one day in the future we can do another food episode together. But I really tried to just deep dive into that before, and I kind of talk about it all the time because I'm so passionate about it. But I'm really excited about this subject as well. I'm just calling it detoxing the home, especially in preparation for baby. But I know that this is so important for fertility as well and just life in general. I'm so glad that I had a big head start way before I was even married and trying for kids and everything. It's always just been a process of slowly detoxing my home. So I'm glad you can chime in on this one. And I want it to be really just casual, and I have bullet points of just the big things to look out for in your home and ingredients. I hate to say a lot of it sometimes leads to purchases like buy this cleaner instead, maybe buy this air purifier, especially because I'm all about sustainability. But a lot of this actually has to do with buying less, avoid buying certain things, sticking to more minimalist options. So I feel like we can just give our recommendations of our favorite products and also recommendations of like, we actually don't need that. Like, don't buy this kind of thing and you can live without that, and just kind of personal experience. Because if we were to talk about the reason we need to avoid things like fragrance and phthalates and all that, we would need to do a whole series. It's so readily available online. You can look up studies and there's so much research done. Just Google it and you can see, oh, this is why I don't want my baby to be exposed to too many VOCs. So instead, as you and I are experiencing motherhood, we just personally are trying products anyways, and we kind of get to share our favorite ones. And I feel like that's what people really want to hear from like personal conversation, right?
Yeah, totally.
So let's get into it. I made a list, and no, I was going to list it off right now, but let's just keep it exciting. We'll go one by one. And for each one, I want your recommendations on how to avoid this in the home. If that is a straight up brand shout out, do it. You know how it is on Instagram. People will just say, tell me what to buy. Like, okay, I get it. Like, which one is the better option? Which brand? And again, some of it leads to actually toss that brand out or toss that product out. And also, before we get into these, gotta shout out, and this is gonna be linked in the show notes along with Zoe's information. I am creating a registry with all of these toxins in mind. Now, I wanted it to be extensive to where you could seriously make this your registry. Each item that they say you need. Of course, every mom is different and lifestyle, so it's also going to have if you really need it. And I did a survey with 100 moms that responded. Thank you, moms. And they rated if they needed this item from 1 to 10. So that's super cool because there can't be a ultimate registry for every single lifestyle. It always changes. So you can at least look 1 through 10. Most people said they didn't even need this. Maybe I'm not going to put it on my registry. But for all of these items, and it is extensive, I keep all these toxins in mind, but they're not all perfect because not every item has a perfect version. And I'm sure in years from now, there will be new items introduced that address these toxins. But I've done so much research and I had to put it into a blog because I did it for my own registry and I thought it was days. It was days of research for all these items. So why would I not write it down and share what I found with all this in mind? Because we can forget, oh, but does this trendy, healthy looking lotion brand for baby have fragrance? You know, things like that that most people don't think about. And yeah, so that's going to be linked and I'm really excited about it. And I think it's going to be super helpful. So now we'll get into what those toxins are. The very first one, which do I want to talk about first? Let's just start with plastic because that's the one we texted about and it's what I like to talk about a lot. yes, you can just look into why plastic is worse than we have been thinking in the last few decades. We know that it's bad for the environment, how it's made, and how it doesn't go away. So, not diving too deep into that, but just some creative ways to avoid plastic in the home. And this has been way more on my radar since I'm expecting very soon. By the way, I'm 37 weeks pregnant, so very, very soon. I'll let you start. I know this one is, I picked the worst first one because it is so extensive, but what are some of your tips, mostly focusing on baby things, on how to just avoid plastic in that realm?
Yeah, I do. I hate plastic. I put like all of our registry and our baby shower invite, like, please don't bring anything with plastic. If it's a plastic toy or anything, like, it will just be given away. Feeding bottles, if you decide to bottle feed, like, just get glass. You are heating up these bottles, these plastics, and then literally giving it to your child. Like, that's just poison. So just think of anything that's going to be going into their mouth. So bottles, feeding, that's like starting right away. And then as they get a little older, all of the like plates and cups and things, like, just go with a silicone or go with glass. When it comes to toys, I'm pretty minimal with toys. I lean more towards Montessori, more natural wooden, silicone, anything that they're going to be putting in their mouth. I just avoid. I either don't buy or I just try to find a natural alternative for it.
Sweet. Some of the things that have been more on my radar ever since I really dove into getting rid of polyester from my home, from my wardrobe. But then it made me think of other things like furniture.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, budget is a thing for me, as for most anyone. And I actually still have a couch that is faux leather. We just got it on Facebook Marketplace and it's peeling. And I know that that's just straight synthetic. Who knows what chemicals? I remember researching, it was originally from Walmart. It was like actually a expensive couch, but it's just absolutely peeling. And I imagine baby like laying on it, sucking on it. Who knows if she's going to be one of those. And so that's on our list, is to find a better couch on Facebook Marketplace. We heard that it's really great to have a glider, an ottoman, or a rocking chair. And I looked for months on Facebook and could not find one that was made with natural material. So before I was super passionate, I got one. And I know it's synthetic. It's just this microfiber. They all are, like everything I could find. And now I regret that purchase. So there are items I plan on swapping out, but it's going to take time. But that's one thing. And then maybe this would fit in the category of another one we'll talk about, which is VOCs, but just the filling in mattresses and in pillows, the polyurethane foam or the polyester filling, even though they won't be directly touching that and we aren't, they can give off VOCs, which some baby products will say our polyester filling is VOC free. So I'm sure that's better, still not sustainable. Yeah, I'm just trying to go. I wish they were all just filled with feathers, or there are some organic options for mattresses, which is going to be on my ultimate registry, just ones that are actually no polyurethane foam, none of that. That is getting into details though, and is really hard to find. Really hard to find all the baby products without even synthetic filling. But some of them, some brands are really cool and they're like, we don't use synthetic filling. We are polyurethane free. So it's a thing and you can find some products that are without it. I also put dishes. I don't want my baby to be using plastic fork, but you covered that. You covered that.
Yeah.
Cooking utensils. I heard black plastic is way worse than regular colors
My
because of
husband told me about that. I
yeah.
was like, what? That's what
Yeah,
this is?
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
however you make black plastic, it's actually way worse, the
Yeah.
chemicals. So I thought I got rid of my black plastic spoon for soups, my ladle, my spatula. So you really don't want to be cooking with anything plastic. We just have wooden and metal. I put air fryer. A lot of air fryers have plastic, and they've found can emit chemicals into your food, but there is a couple brands that address that and they don't use plastic. So there's better ones if you're an air fryer
Do you
person.
have one of them? Do you have a Wonder Oven?
I
Or...
actually don't. Do you?
I don't. I have one similar. It is lower tox, but it's getting a little grimy.
Okay.
So the Wonder Oven will be a purchase very soon.
Yeah, one day. We got the KitchenAid, we got an Instant Pot. Now I kind of wish I had one of those and not an Instant Pot. I don't know, whatever. We have a small kitchen, but I do want one. Yeah, those are what I wrote down. Oh, and just lastly, bed sheets. So I've just been pretty conscious with crib sheets, or if we stick with co-sleeping, our own sheets, all just polyester free, stuff like that. So
yeah, we have
that's
grounding. We
all.
have organic grounding sheets on our bed. We didn't have them when she was in bed with us, but all of her stuff I was so picky about because I know she's sleeping a lot. Like as babies, you're sleeping a lot. You're going to be on the bed or on you or whatever all the time, almost all day long. And so I didn't want her breathing in anything or having anything soak into her skin. So making sure all of her sleepers were nice and clean and cozy for her, that she wasn't going to be absorbing those chemicals while she sleeps. Yeah.
Yeah, polyester is plastic, acrylic. Yeah. So we've discussed this in a past episode actually, but yeah, the sheets, the pajamas, all of that. So next one I wrote down was mold. I am no expert on this, except for the fact that I wiped every square inch of my home with a demold spray that I did some research on, and it's supposed to be great. It smells so good. It's supposed to be really clean. It's called Microbalance Health. So before I get into that and why I did that, do you have any tips on keeping your house mold free? Is that something you're into?
Yeah, so before we got pregnant, I did all of this functional testing because I was pretty unwell. I had like super chronic fatigue, so much stuff going on. Like I was fairly healthy, but I would just react. Like I had breakdown in hives, all this stuff. So we did a mycotoxin test as well as a gut test and found out I had super high levels to mold. Most of it was something that's like in a home caused by water damage, and then found out I had celiac. And so I actually got the results when I found out I was, I think, 6 weeks pregnant. So of course I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, we are living in a mold ridden home. What are we going to do? We live in such an expensive place. Like we can't just move and find a new place to live. And so we did as much remediation as we could. We let our landlord know, and they were not willing to fix the mold. And so we just, yeah, we upped our dehumidifiers, our air purifiers. I detoxed as much as I could being pregnant. And then I was breastfeeding and then got pregnant again. So I've never fully like detoxed my own self, but just making sure we wipe everything down. Like mold can grow on dust, and it's so dusty here, and just making sure we have really good airflow. It's hard. So I know there's mold tests you can do to see if you have mold in the home, but since I did that test, and it's visible in the bathroom. We didn't need a test to know that. It's in our house. So we just try to be really careful about cleaning the house, and yeah, just trying to do what we can. We know it's there, we know it's in the walls, but yeah, that's just something we live with.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like me. I had a little freak out just because my neighbor had it, even though she was many doors down. The thing is, every house has it. Especially here. But I just thought we have to do a professional test. And this company, Microbalance Health, does these at-home tests. It's like $30, petri dishes. And of course that came out positive, and there was tons of colonies on the petri dishes. But I just didn't know, it depends on what kind it is, on how toxic they are. So I scrubbed every square inch of the house. It took days. I even paid a friend. She wouldn't take the money, but I tried to pay her to help me. We just listened to music and we vinegar sprayed every wall, ceiling, carpet. And then we also did this natural spray that I bought. My plan was to do a professional test after this because I'm already one of those cycle moms apparently. Just thinking about baby's health, and we did the whole process, and then I found out the price of the professional test to see the exact kind of mold we have, and we really just can't afford it. So that's my plan. Actually, Riley and I don't have symptoms, the common symptoms that you tend to get. If anything, we have stuffy noses, but I think that's from the ocean. We surf a lot, so that's common. So for now, I do feel at peace just using that same company also has these candles that are awesome. They're supposed to just kill it in the air. And then we do have an air doctor, that's such a blessing. It's very expensive. It's just like top of the line. And if you can snag one of those, it's supposed to clear all the mold in the air. And I thought, you know what? We're doing so much to detox our home and we're not experiencing symptoms that I feel like it's not going to be too bad and it's super normal. So good to hear you're kind of in the same boat, and I'm not crazy for not moving out because there was clearly some mold. I think it's just so common. But if you can do a pro test and see what kind you have, and if you're having crazy symptoms, then definitely something to take action on.
Yeah, since I've done a lot of detoxing in the home and then what I could internally, I don't react like I did. I think my body was just so overwhelmed with everything. Like it just would react to like even health foods. And then also if you have, I'm blanking on it, the like MTHFR mutation, your body doesn't detox the same way others do. So not everyone will react to mold in a big way. That may be why you guys aren't reacting or don't have big symptoms.
Interesting. Yeah. I think either way, it's worth taking the precautions because it can get bad. Next, this is an interesting one, EMFs. That's really on my radar. And so before I get into what we've done in our home, I'll let you say if you've done anything to avoid EMFs in yours.
Yeah, my husband used to work for a telecommunication company and climbed radio towers for a living, and that's when I knew about EMFs, but then I really started to research because I'm like, I think this is really bad for your health. And this was before we got pregnant, and so once we got pregnant, I knew a little bit more about EMFs. I'm like, we can't have this in our home. And so we're pretty low with EMFs. We don't have like a Wi-Fi router in the rooms. We keep it out in the living room. There is a smart meter on our house that the electric company put on, so that's there, but we try to limit like any Bluetooth in the home, especially in the rooms where she's sleeping. The one thing that we did end up getting later on was a monitor. I had like a sound one, even though our house is so small I could hear her, but I was so paranoid at night because I could hear like the deer in the yard and the animals, and I just wasn't sure if it was her making noise. I didn't want to have to keep checking on her. So we did end up getting a video monitor, one that doesn't have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connected, and we do have an EMF tester. So I checked to see how the levels are from where the camera is to where she's laying down. But we just try to stay away from all the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi stuff like that.
Okay, you are more on it than I am. So that's a big one in my mind now. I just see a cell phone now or an iPhone as just radiating EMFs. So I'm not putting it in my pocket unless it has airplane mode on, especially with baby in my belly still. I'm like, that's not near me with the Bluetooth on. But we did just Riley's great. He's all into this too. He put a timer on our Wi-Fi router so it turns off and on. It's in our living room. And on the note of prepping for baby and registries, this is one of those things where it's about buying less. And I've seen people say you need the Owlet ankle monitor. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, we were given one and I was like, no, absolutely
yeah,
not.
Yeah. I mean, I think when it comes to certain electronics, the benefit outweighs risk sometimes. If your baby has a health issue, you might need an outlet. Like that might be worth it. But for the most part, I think babies need less stimulation. They don't need these toys with loud noises that are made of plastic, and anything electronic has EMFs, but yes, with Wi-Fi, with Bluetooth, it's way, way more. It's pretty easy to just keep that in mind, to educate yourself on that, and then you just get this EMF radar in your brain. But yes, there are EMF meters as well. So that's really cool you have one, and I'm dying to get one. They're actually really cheap. So I just haven't done it yet, but just to check on like how much is our TV emitting just when it's on, things like that. Anything electronic, I'm like, we don't need it. It's yeah, of course though. There's so many things we have that are electronic, but just the extra things, especially the baby toys. And we did get a monitor too, and I kind of second guessed because we put it on our registry, and I thought maybe that wasn't necessary, but you just don't really know until you have baby and you don't know your lifestyle. So we have it as backup, and I'm sure we'll end up using it, especially if we go on a trip or something and are in a larger. I'm just thinking of my family trips that we do once a year, and the house is bigger. So we would be in a separate room and need to hear baby. So that will probably be used. Charging your phone at night, we don't charge our phones next to our heads while we're sleeping. We actually just started charging them in the living room, which has been awesome. We got an alarm clock. But yeah, apparently that's more EMFs when they're charging.
Yeah, charging your phone. So we have, I mean, I have an EMF locker phone case on my phone, but I check to see like what is it just off, what is it with Wi-Fi, what is it with Bluetooth, and then what is it plugged in. And being plugged in, crazy, crazy amounts. Just being on Wi-Fi, on Bluetooth, not connected to anything, wasn't super high amounts, but yeah, just the fact that it's being plugged in. So I don't even go near my phone if it's charging. If I have to be on it or I have to use it, I'll just unplug and step away. But when it is plugged in, it has so much radiating.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I've read that. It's cool to see that you actually saw that on your meter, though. I mean, it's so wild. One thing I also put under this, there are grounding shoes. You have grounding sheets, but I just heard this can help release some of that radiation, some of that energy out of our bodies. And I just thought it was fun just because my friend has these for her little kid, but there's grounding shoes where there's a little piece of copper in the shoe. So versus walking barefoot is great as well. You know, can't do that all the time usually. So yeah, there's just grounding in general. I try to walk on the beach in the morning for some sunlight too. We're gonna actually get into circadian rhythm for a sec, but yeah, the grounding of it, just walking barefoot, or it's cool we have those sheets too. And just ending note really is you can put it on your registry and see if you need it, like I did with a monitor, but things like even a sound machine, things like that, you just might not need it. Try to stick with simple and then add these things in as you're struggling with sleep, or baby really needs entertainment, maybe you want that electronic toy, things like that. But usually it's not necessary, and babies need less stimulation than they get. So my next one is fragrance. I feel like you'll have a lot to say with this one. So what would be on top of your head for fragrance?
So just about fragrance, I am not as scared of that word as I was, because I think the like crunchy community does a really good job of fear mongering. And so I'm a makeup artist as well. And so I, a couple years ago, wanted to switch my kit over to just non-toxic makeup and what can I offer my clients. So I signed up for this box. Every month I got like samples of just non-toxic cosmetics to try. And one month it was perfumes. And I was like, what? There's non-toxic perfumes. Like, this can't be right. This is straight fragrance and chemicals. And so I went down the rabbit hole and found that there's so much with fragrance. There's different fragrance houses, and companies can choose fragrance houses that don't have all of the like formaldehyde and the phthalates and all the endocrine disruptors, the things that are bad for you, and how the FDA dictates a lot of things in labeling. Like, even if a company buys it's a blend of essential oils from a third party company. They have to label it as fragrance to protect the third party company. And so I still avoid fragrance from a lot of companies, but I just make sure that I know like where the fragrance comes from. Does it have any of those harmful toxins and chemicals? And like, can they source the fragrance ingredients back to the source? Like, can you trace that? So now that I know that, like, I am a lot less stressed about seeing that in products if I know like who the company is and all of that, but I'm still pretty picky when it comes to fragrance around my house. I get really bad migraines when I am smelling synthetic fragrances, so I can spot it immediately. If I'm around it, I immediately get nauseous and a migraine.
It's funny you said that. I was going to say the same thing. I don't get a migraine, but I had a friend, same exact thing. And I thought, wow, that is wild. I'm not there yet. But that was a couple years ago. And fast forward to now, I can sniff it for sure right away. And even some brands that look like they'd be all natural, but they say fragrance or perfume on the label, and then I open it up, maybe it's a sample, and I'm just shocked. Once you use less fragrance in your life, once you get rid of a lot of those products, I think you not only can tell the difference, but you just don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of this shampoo sample I got, and I thought, this is not necessary. It was potent, and it's this brand. I got the sample because it's supposed to be, it's kind of trendy. It looks like it'd be natural by the labeling, and I just thought, this is crazy. Like, maybe I loved this when I was a teenager, but I don't need such a shocking, potent smell in my shampoo, you know? And then I definitely can tell that it lingers too. Normally, they add additives that make it stick around for your laundry or for your skin. And I feel personally like the natural fragrances don't stick around. I wish they did, but they kind of just diffuse off way faster than the synthetic stuff. So before I say just my big ones to just check, are you saying, so if you kind of trust a brand and the ingredient says fragrance on it, would you still buy it if they have the information on that fragrance on their website, or how would you know?
Yeah, some have it on their website. I've called some companies or just written to them, and sometimes they get back to you and sometimes they don't. And so if they don't get back to me, I'm like, okay, I'm not buying from you because you're not being super transparent. But the ones that do and can give their whole policy and all of that, then I know, like, okay, so you don't use any of this in any of your products. Okay, great. Now I know that. So that gives me peace of mind. Like, I can trust that.
Okay, sweet. For now, I just don't buy it, even if it says natural fragrance, because I've just heard too many stories. But yeah, if you really love a product, I can see, might as well call them, email them, see what it actually is. That makes sense. So just the things that I've noticed my friends and community sometimes forget to check the ingredients on. A big one for me, I'm so passionate about laundry detergent because it does go into our waterways and it does destroy our soil and our waterways. It goes into the ocean. So for the planet, the dioxins in laundry detergent, there's crazy stats. The pollution it causes is worse than things you wouldn't even imagine. So I wish Tide was illegal and some of those big brands, they really are affecting the planet and they are affecting us. I love to go thrift shopping and I smell some of the clothes. I buy some of the clothes and I'm like, how many times do I need to wash this before this
Just strip
synthetic?
it.
Yeah, they put again the additives to make it stay in the fabric and it's toxic. So yeah, detergents for sure. Check those ingredients. Cleaners, soaps, definitely your baby lotions, skincare. And then I'm definitely a fan of it being scented with essential oils. Did you do much research on essential oils and baby? Because I heard maybe that can be strong, but is that just when you're directly using essential oils while you're pregnant or with a baby?
So it
Do you
was
know much
more
about?
like what I felt was safe because essential oils are super strong. They're super potent, and babies are just so sensitive and their senses are still developing. And I just didn't want to harm that in the first few months while they're just so delicate. I didn't want to overwhelm their senses. I mean, they're they can smell. You know, they're smelling for mom and they're smelling for your breast milk and trying to figure out this world. And so with essential oils, because that's pretty much what I use. If it's fragrance, it's essential oil based. I didn't even use it on myself, putting it on my skin or any of that because baby was on me. Because I think that's safe dilutions, you know, they're good. They're not completely harmless, but I just chose to wait till like 4 to 6 months until I started using like diffusing essential oils around baby and using my body care products with essential oils.
Sweet, yeah. Just, I think, something to remember and just be a little careful of. So, following up with fragrance, what is in fragrance and just chemicals in general. So, we hear a lot about forever chemicals, VOCs, which are volatile organic compound, I believe, that is in the air. So, normally you can smell them, but not all of them. And phthalates. So, that's just kind of the rest of the chemicals. And some of the things that I avoid that tends to have forever chemicals and some of these in them, Teflon pans. So we use our cast iron and or stainless steel, just cookware, tap water. So forever chemicals is found in our tap water. We have a shower filter. I have the Jolie. It's cute. I know it gets rid of chlorine. I know that there are more extensive ones, though, that get rid of everything bad in that tap water. So you can look into that. But for now, I love the Jolie for the shower head. And I know you can also get filters for your entire plumbing system. So what you're brushing your teeth with out of your hand washing sink is also filtered. So there's all sorts of levels with that. People go crazy with that. And again, budget, maybe in the future, maybe when we own a home one day, if that can happen. So then obviously water filter for drinking, but also paints on kids' toys. So a lot of the brands that I'm going to put on the registry, if it is a toy or like something that baby might suck on, it better have either no paint at all or it's very tested, very natural. And then toilet paper also has forever chemicals sometimes and phthalates, which is crazy. So get the unbleached, undyed, not recycled, because the recycled paper, toilet paper, as much as it's great for the environment, it can have receipt paper, it can have BPA paper in it. And they've tested that and found that last I put on here was diapers. So I'm actually going to link a really cool article I found on diapers because they tested a bunch of diapers and a bunch of them had phthalates and forever chemicals, but not all of them. So there's positive news to this article. You can see which brands tested completely clean. Those are just the ones that were on top of my head just to look out for the rest of those chemicals. Also just furniture, finishes on the wood. Most of the registry items for furniture I try to stick with. If there's a wooden version, that's better than plastic. But you have to make sure they didn't use a certain finish. So there's all those certifications for that. Do you have anything to add to that?
I'm just excited to see what you put about diapers. We cloth diaper with assembly, but there have been times where we are on vacation and we're in a hotel. Like we are not going to bring our cloth diapers with us. And I've used a lot of the natural ones. I just haven't found anyone that I love. It's just when you compare it to the cloth diapers, like it just doesn't compare. So I'm just excited to see what you put down for that.
Okay, I love that you said that. I did a cloth diaper episode and I said, rumor has it, some moms actually prefer cloth diapering. So it looks like you're one of them. And
100%. Yeah.
that's so cool. I actually have my stash already, fully educated on it, ready to go. So I hope I'm one of those moms. And side note, assembly tested completely clean.
Yes.
Because some cloth diapers can have forever chemicals, unfortunately, but they tested clean, and that's in this article. Continue.
Yeah. I think starting so early is probably why. And we did it she was our first. So we started on day 4, day 5. So, and we just stuck with it. But we don't have single use of anything in our home really. So it just makes sense for us.
Any other chemical things to look out for, you'd think, when it comes to phthalates and things like that?
One thing you said was shower head. So we had a shower head already and I knew there were bathtub filters, but I'm like, we can just fill up the tub with a shower head. We ended up just getting a bathtub filter. I would totally recommend that. Getting a separate one as well. It makes life easy.
I've been thinking about that. We actually have an outdoor bathtub, which is so
Ooh.
awesome. And so I realized it comes from the same hose. So I think we're going to get a different one so that it works for the shower and bathtub. But everyone has their different setups. Definitely worth it, especially if you're soaking in that water. Yeah, to get a filter for that. I actually only have one more. So these were my big bullet point things to look out for, and I think that the more you look out for them, the more it just makes sense. And I for years have said I have this plastic radar, like it just sticks out to me, and I'm like, wow, why would I buy that thing? It's not even, it doesn't even appeal to me because it's plastic. But as I've over the last more recent years been looking out for all these other things, just naturally you start to become averse to it and not even want them in your life. All except for this last one. I said we just touch on circadian rhythm kind of for fun because I actually that's probably my last on the list of just being passionate about it because I have never struggled with sleep. Such a blessing. I call it my superpower. But of course, I've had energy problems and gut issues up the wazoo and acne and all the other things that I've just tackled, I think, with all of these other, fragrance, mold, just that, of course, that's why I've been passionate about them and I've seen results over the years. But I never needed help with sleep. So I just recently have been reading more about lights and blue light and all that, and see that it's not just about your sleep. And I'm going to have a baby soon, and babies need help with sleep. And my husband could also use help with sleep as well. But it is about your energy levels and just health overall, and just being a little more in tune with nature. So I'd love to hear what you have to say on what you guys do to try to keep your rhythm balanced. And then once again, I'll say what I've learned.
Yeah, we do like to keep the lights pretty low at night. And when she was a newborn, like when I was waking up, we would have just a little red light, not like a just it was like a nightlight that you had a red setting on, nothing fancy, just to keep the lights low. I think it's so important after baby because you're going to be getting like interrupted sleep, and so your sleep might change a little, even though you're, going back to sleep and you get maybe consecutively the 8 hours, it's interrupted. And so having a solid rhythm is going to help. And so we just try to get outside as much as we can. Sunlight in the eyes first thing. We don't do screen time a ton. It's where, blue lights, and then we have our blue light glasses on at night. So we try our best.
I love that you just casually said, yeah, sunlight first thing in the morning. Like, even that is something that people don't think about, in practice. And it is so important. There are so many studies done on this as well. And it just drastically helps your energy levels. Instead, people just go to supplementing melatonin, which can be great too. And these synthetic vitamins and supplements and powders, but if you can just get it from nature instead, save money, and whenever it's natural, it's always going to work better. So definitely trying to see the sun in the morning, which even for me sometimes I forget. Like, I actually have to make a point of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I might just start working on my computer in the morning. I do so much computer work, and for whatever reason, I like to just get to it, and I have to stop myself and say, no, I'm going to go outside first. And I think another reason I wanted to add this one to the list is because I just had the coolest conversation with my neighbor who said she wasn't told to do this. She just had this mom instinct to every night take out her newborn babies. She's had 4 now, and let them see the stars before bedtime.
Aww.
And I just thought, how many moms, I mean, most of us, I wouldn't have done that. We just, okay, day's over, lights are still on. Okay, now it's 7 o'clock, we'll turn the lights off and go to sleep with the artificial lights in our houses. But she lets them see the stars, and then, of course, in the morning, lets them see the sun. I don't even think I would have ever thought of that if she didn't tell me to. And she said that all her babies slept through the night by month number 1, which is wild. So we'll see. I That's really shooting for the moon, but that is so cool to me and just special just to see that they know it's nighttime, even though, yes, they'll probably be waking up throughout the night, but there's a difference between daytime and nighttime. And for many people, especially in those first few weeks postpartum, they're just staying indoors and using artificial lighting. That is really cool to get them on that nature rhythm as soon as possible. And then just other things that I've practiced for years, actually. I did used to struggle doing so much online work with my eyes being watery. So I just invested in blue light screen protectors for my computer and phone. And it was shocking to me that my eyes never hurt. I could actually stare at a screen for 8 hours in a row. That sounds horrible and so not crunchy granola of me, but sometimes that's happened, kind of office job life, and my eyes don't get dry or anything. So try not to do that. That's not healthy, but it's not just your eyes getting dry, but it's just an indicator of other health impacts it has. I was not into the blue light glasses ever. I think that's just annoying. So you might as well, I mean, some people do it for their artificial lights. So if you're not bothered by them, then you can get those
Yeah,
too.
it's probably because
But
I have prescription glasses, so I'm used to having it on my face.
yeah, so that's fine. And then you're also blocking the lights in the ceiling. So that's great. I'm just blocking my phone and my computer. So they say not to watch TV right before bed because of that and probably other reasons as well. But I still do
I
sometimes.
do
I like to fall asleep.
too.
Maybe I should get blue light glasses because I love falling asleep to a movie.
Yeah,
So
me too.
it's a habit and I still sleep fine. So that's why I'm not worried about it. But if you have sleeping problems, try not doing that and see if it makes a difference. That's all I put under that, other than just, I also said the sun, but we talked about that. And a lot of experts on circadian rhythm will talk about sunglasses. And I actually don't wear sunglasses. The only time I really do is one, if it's a fashion accessory, or two, if I'm driving for a long time and I feel like maybe the sun is just not naturally coming through my windshield. Because, for one, I know that if your eyes see the sun, you get a boost of melanin in your skin and it helps protect from sunburn. So, if you're blocking that, then you probably will get sunburned more easily. So I thought, oh, in the car, that's fine. But now that I'm reading more about circadian rhythm and how the sun is telling you it's daytime, it's time to be energetic, I notice the difference if I wear my sunglasses in the car, how tired I'll get if it's a long drive, as long as the drive can be here on Oahu. It's never driving more than an hour and a half, but I'll get tired in that hour and a half if I'm wearing sunglasses, because to our brain, it's nighttime when we're totally blocking out that daylight. That was the last thing I had on there, and people think I'm crazy for not wearing sunglasses, except for the few that are who have read what I've read. I'm banking on the fact that our eyes were created well and that they know what to do. The pupils get bigger and smaller as they should, and they shouldn't be bigger with sunglasses on during the day. There's lots to go into that one. Yeah, that's all I had for circadian rhythm, and I think that that totally goes along the lines of just creating a natural home, detoxing it, and just having the best space for baby.
So many good things.
Yeah, you said things I didn't think about. I'm sure listeners will hear things that they didn't think about as well. But overall, just the more you start thinking about these main toxins, the more you'll see it in your home, and just toss it out, swap it out for the better version. I mean, when I switched out all my cooking utensils, I found everything I needed at the thrift shop. It was not expensive. It doesn't have to be. There's always the crazy water filters and Air Doctor that can be for sure an investment, but I think overall you end up buying less and realizing you don't need as much to avoid the chemicals and all that. It's very doable. If you're expecting, check out my registry. It's going to be epic, and as best as I could find in research, nothing's perfect. Any closing notes or anything you'd like to add? Future plans for your Instagram?
I am mainly just nutrition wise, I'm just excited to launch some courses as I am finishing up school, so people can look out for that. Um, but yeah, that's kind of just where I hang out, and I'm excited to have been here and chatted with you. So thank you.
Yeah, this has been awesome. And shoot us some questions. If you have a question for Zoe, I'll ask her and respond or reach out to her on Instagram. And thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. Until next time.